Hello, Ajax and Pickering, and welcome to the Coffee Talks Roadshow, where we're mobile and ready to roll, always hunting down the next perfect cup of coffee. You never know where we might be or who we're talking with. Where there's hot coffee and hot topics, there's the Coffee Talks Roadshow. Now here's your host, Brian Evely.
Welcome to this special edition of Coffee Talks. I'm your host, Brian Evely, and I have a great panel with me today. All excellent entrepreneurs, experts in their field. And actually to the far of your screen there, we have Shamba Amani, who is a marketing and sales specialist. And beside him is the ever-lovely Louise Fradet-Clark. She's also a marketing, PR, and event specialist. And of course, to my immediate left here is Tina Wieringa, who is also the program coordinator for Essential Communications in Whitby. And we're here today, we're going to be talking about starting a business. And welcome everyone to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
So we've got the task today of we're going to be talking about starting a business and what it takes, and everyone here has started a business. So let's just dive right in, the good, bad, the ugly. So experiences.
If I can say one thing, it'd be I find a lot of people that go into business may not have a clear vision. And one of the things I like to stress in the marketing aspect is having a compelling vision, having that reason why you're actually in business, something that's going to wake you up in the morning, wake up in the middle of the night, and want to know more, and get that hunger and thirst going, and creating a vision that is basically slated for that. So, if you want to say you walk into McDonald's and they'll have their vision up, and we're going to have great customer service, and we're going to do this and that. But vision statements and your vision is more to create something. You want to create, how are you going to assist clients, potential clients, and potential consumers? What are you going to do? What's your vision going to really be that's going to help you and help the next party at the same time, and really getting people to get hungry again. Because vision, if you get a job and you read the manual, you go through the vision statements, the mission statements, and that's it. It's forgotten. No one really deals with that anymore, But you want something that's going to drive you. You want something that's going to bring that interest and bring that perk.
Bring the passion out.
Yeah, bring that passion out. Yeah. So I'm hungry, and make you hungry every day. Because if you don't have something to go by that's going to make you hungry, I mean, you're going to have no will to go on when the times get rough. And I'm sure all of us here have experienced that in our own businesses.
Exactly, and I like the point that you make about ensuring that vision is something that you always look back to and ensure that it's something that's going to drive you forward. Because really, with small business owners, you only have yourself and your vision to drive you forward. Without that, then you tend to fall back and maybe sit behind your computer and feel sorry for yourself or why things aren't moving along. I find a lot of the times we develop a business plan and we place at the front of our business plan its vision of our business when we are eager and wanting to get our business up and running. And then, as you said, a couple of weeks later or even a year later, you look back and you're like, what does that mean? Where did I want to go with that? It means nothing anymore to me. And that drive is something that always needs to be within you. Otherwise, it'll be something very difficult to move forward with.
Yeah, and you touched upon a really, really key thing there with regards to having a business plan. And actually, I'm going to turn to Louise. Louise, what made you start your business?
Well, for me, it was something I'd always done. I love to do. I'm an organizer. I love to organize. And so basically, it's like making events a reality, making people feel something. When you have an event, they either have an experience, and I'm hoping that when I do an event, they come away thinking that they had a really great experience. I also would like to add with the, we were talking about putting in the effort and the passion, you have to have that discipline to every day to go to your computer.
Yes.
And set up a schedule and say, okay, I'll be at my computer at 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to work till 4, whatever it takes to make my business happen. I think where businesses maybe are not as successful is they are not as disciplined to make a point of working Monday through Friday or whatever the time frame, and having that structure in place and sticking to it. And it does take a certain amount of perseverance, and you can't give up, even when sometimes there's low periods, but sometimes, you know, the good times make up for those, and you just have to keep working through it.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think the biggest, the biggest struggle that people have is waking up in the morning and thinking that they're unemployed, because that's exactly what an entrepreneur is. As soon as your feet hit the floor, you're unemployed. You got to go find work. And you know, the biggest question that seems to go unanswered is, where do I get my business from? You know, and business isn't going to just flock to you and, you know, make a trail from their place of business to your place of business. It doesn't work like that. You need to go out there, hammer on the doors, make your phone calls, have your, you know, fill your funnel. And I guess, you know, moving on to our like, starting a business is great. You know, having the vision, you know, making sure that it's congruent with your passions and you have the energy and everything behind it. But now it's the marketing. Okay, how do I get my name out there? You know, how do I find clients? How do people find out about me? And that seems to be where a lot of businesses fail, is in their marketing plan. So let's talk about the having a marketing plan that's also part of your business plan. So what key points, I guess tips and tricks can you suggest to people to put into their marketing plan or to start one?
Well, one of the things I make sure that every client gets is part of their marketing plan is a strategic action plan. Basically, so from like we were just mentioning, so from the time you get up in the morning, how much time are you allocating, and for what are you allocating it for?
Right.
Whether it be, one of the first things I have people do this first thing in the morning is you're doing research. You may do half an hour of research, and whether it be reading, whether it be homework on what's happening in your industry, following the trends, because you have to know what's going on, so you can be able to either be proactive or reactive, and you've got to make a decision which one you want to be within your business. So within the marketing aspect of the marketing plan, it's basically really focusing on who's your target market, how are you going to attract them, and where do they go? Where are they? Who do they look like? What do they look like? What do they eat? You know, you need to find out that you need to be that same client that you want. You need to be that client, so that you can have a full understanding and comprehension of what they want and what their needs are. Because basically, you're in business to fulfill a need that they have, and you need to figure out what that is.
Right.
And there is something, this may be a little bit more black and white, but in order to help people with doing and finding that information, the library in Whitby has a great resource. It's called a P-Census. And the P-Census is something that you can get only at the Whitby Library. You do actually have to walk down to that large building and enter it, and it's on the second floor. And what you'll find is how many people in your block have a dog and how much money they spend on that dog. So if you're market research in order to find out about your customer and what your customer likes, what do they want to eat, all of that information you can find within this P-Census database. So if you're looking at finding information about people in your area, it has it. And the person to contact there is Dean Nickerson. He knows about this database and how to work it. So it's mainly about the people, and then obviously there's other resources that we can find about different businesses and if they're your customer, what they can find out for you through that.
And once you get your customer, hopefully,
Yeah.
with your product or service, then follow through is so crucial. You
Yes.
have to deliver on the promise that you make, and make sure that your customer is as pleased as can possibly be. And then you are there to service, 100%, no matter when they may need help again or whatever. If it's a product, that they are completely happy, and that's key to keeping your customers, retaining your customers.
Yeah, keeping like a guarantee, and because you're putting your name behind your service or product. So yeah, having a follow-up line or even having a monthly newsletter that goes out, keeping people in the loop. So.
Just if I can just mention
Sure,
one
go
quick
ahead.
thing, and that's like with one of the clients I had, and to me, I love the story because I feel like I'm a part of the story, so I love it even more. But a company I went into, it was a call center, And what happened is that they found that people coming back after lunch took a while to get into the flow of work back again. You know, they took their time, they're checking on their Blackberries and on their iPhones, if I can mention those names. They were checking on those devices, smartphones, and checking on their devices, to, you know, checking up on what's happening at home or whatever. So I talked to the client because he saw the, you know, that time lapse. So I suggested to him that, you know, why don't you have people in the call center going on the internet, on social media for the first half hour after lunch. Let them talk to people out there, or, you know, because they're already vocalizing to, you know, unknown consumers what they're trying to sell. So have them talk to people and let them have it where these calls will be now directed to the sales team, so that the sales team can actually make the closing call. And it's actually helped their business over 24% in growth from just allowing and not nitpicking and watching behind the back, okay, who's on the phone and who's doing what. And no, let them do that, because you know what? Now their hands are moving, their mind is moving. It's picking up at a quicker pace now, where they're not having that lapse. They're right into the flow now, because now they're on LinkedIn or they're on another social media site, and they're seeing who can get what clients, because now the owner was able to put an incentive behind it. Yeah. So who gets a client that the sales team can close, there's an extra bonus for you on your check.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a great example of always being creative. There was once a time, I think, where people stuck to what was tried and true. However, I think with everything changing so quickly in our world, that you have to be ready to change. You have to develop new ideas. What may have worked 5 years ago may not work today.
Right.
So you have to think really outside the box at all times, and just keep going and make it happen.
Yeah, and today, you know, social media and being online is as critical as reading and writing.
Yes.
You know, and being able to use those tools. You know, having a website. You know, 10 years ago, 13 years ago, having a website was like, meh. You know, I might do it, I might not do it. It's a fad. Now it's completely a must for business. You know, a centralized location where you can put your information. You can have a blog. You can have a vlog, like we were talking before the show.
Well, it makes you legitimate, I think, to the customer.
And professional.
You're for real.
And it goes back to the whole thing of being able to contact and the follow-up, and, you know, if people want to do some research about your company or whatever the case is, you know, just, completely legitimizes yourself.
One thing I always say about websites, though, and I admire websites, but the only thing I deal with clients within websites, if you're going to have a website, you have to utilize it 100%, because it becomes that poster you see at the bus stop that you walk by every day and you don't take no notice of, and you have to get those unique visitors being able to go in there and not just track them, but find out where they're visiting, where they're going, what are they reading, how long are they staying on there. And to only do that, you're going to have to put things that are interesting, that they want to hear about, because at the end of the day, there are millions of websites, and they're going to need to stop at your website and stay a while.
That's right.
And what are you going to do to make them stay a while?
Client engagement.
Client engagement.
Yeah.
You know,
and get the conversation going on your website. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So don't make your website a poster.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the brochureware is good if you're selling a product or service, but when it comes down to, you know, the whole customer experience, you need to have, you know, something a little bit more robust, and again, that has to be put into your marketing plan as a spend. You know, it's got to be part of the budget. It's got to be a line item. So let's talk. Okay, so we've talked about starting a business. We've talked about the marketing plan. We briefly talked about sales. Now, sales is a key thing, because this is where people kind of freeze up. They start a business and they're like, yeah, you know, I started a business. I'm not really a salesperson. If you're in business, you got to be a salesperson.
Exactly.
So, what type of strategies have you used to get outside your comfort zone? So, we'll start with Louise.
Well, actually, for me, when I first started, I was not on social media at all. So for me to actually get on social media was getting outside my comfort zone. And I am now such a believer that it amazes people that know me. So I just got out there and, you know, just started set up social media actually for like Facebook for myself, Facebook for the business. I'm on Twitter, for both. So you have to get out there every which way to build awareness and build your brand, and
Right.
and make as much noise as possible. The other thing too is, of course, the networking, getting involved with all the various networking, groups and so forth. There's quite a few in the Durham region that are fabulous, and getting out there, getting your name out there, and having people know what it is you do and what you can you offer.
So what kind of strategies do you use to convert your efforts on social media and by networking to turn them into clients?
Well, for me, it's just that persistent message. Just constantly, if I don't have an event or anything specific, then I'll simply put in like ideas about events in general. Just once a week or what have you. So there's that constant reminder, and just again getting the name out there to keep it going.
All right, and how about yourself?
One of the things I find is I have a lot of clients that probably like Louise here, they didn't think about sales, or they're frightened, or it was intimidating, it was out of their comfort zone. So the first thing I had to deal with is them having to deal with a new standard of living, basically. And what I mean is that a lot of us believe like we limit ourselves, how we were, but the beliefs that we have, how we grew up. It has toned us or molded us into what we have become in many instances. And it's to break that mold and say, why are you putting limitations on who you are? Why not expand that and be something different? Because if you want to grow in business or grow to be something that you can envision right now, you're not going to do it how you are right now. You just can't. You have to set a whole new set of standards for yourself. And to do that, it's going to have to take that engagement and that sales aspect. Now, it's a lot easier said than done, of course, but for that sales aspect, you want people to be able to say to yourself, to look at your product and be able to, if you as a CEO cannot talk about your product, you're in the wrong business. If you cannot have that passion to demonstrate and illustrate to the public your product, they're not going to have the confidence in buying from you.
That's true.
Well
And
said.
that can go back to your mission statement and your vision. If you don't believe in it, then and it doesn't empower you, then you can't sell it.
Right.
And I think some general tips too, like just somebody that wants to go out there, okay, I need to sell today. What can I do to sell today? Something that I've always found helpful for those that are timid in going out and selling is to bring someone with you. Someone that's really great at it, and buddy up with them and enter into an event, or go somewhere where no one knows you and no one knows that original stigma of who you are.
Right.
And then that's where you step outside of that comfort zone. So no one here knows me, so I'm going to act like X instead of Y today.
Yeah.
And I think just generally speaking, those are sort of immediate things that you could do and just to get out there and get yourself moving. Practicing in a mirror what you want to say
Definitely.
is, it's archaic maybe, but it tends to work.
It's very
Yeah.
effective.
But if you believe in your product or your service and you really are passionate about it, it does come through.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I think your potential customers can see that.
Yeah.
So I think if you go into it wholeheartedly and that you care, I think for sure that's a real plus.
I agree. And a couple of things I'll add to that. For us being successful, I say us because I'm a team, right? We work in a team. So what we do is we realize how much we want to make. Okay, so we actually put hard numbers on it, and then we break it down to how many meaningful conversations we need to have daily in order to make that happen. And some days you'll have more than what the average is. Some days you'll have less. But the whole thing is that if you average it out over the course of the week, then that gives you a launching point. I guess a good plan, like a sales plan, would be to go out and have these conversations, and you fill your funnel. So, like, say, if I need to have, one sale a day, I know I have to talk to at least 10 people in order to do that. So law of averages, and then that funnel, you got to keep working it so that eventually down the road, people that say no, maybe I never take no as a no. I mean, no, not right now.
That's it. Exactly.
Right? So you keep them those cold leads, if I could use that term, and then gently warm them up.
Yeah.
So now once we get our business started, and we're totally out, and we've got our shingle hung up, we got signs out. We did a good marketing plan. We've got did our study in the area, so we know who our potential clients are, demographics, whole 9 yards. Let's talk about staying in business, because it's always great to launch. You get the euphoria of the launch. So what does it take to stay in business? Actually, we'll start with you, Tina.
Okay. Well, obviously clients, and continuing to maintain the relationship with your clients. Another area that I've personally experienced, and something that I see is imperative, is to always be ready for change. So in order to stay in business, you have to see your business not as a box and something that fits into this box, but always be ready and willing to make changes and work with those changes. So don't see change as an enemy. See it as something that will help you to grow your business, because today your business may be one thing, but in order for it to be sustainable, it may end up being something else 15 years from now.
Yeah, agreed.
It does take on a life of its own, in a sense, and you have to be prepared to take it that way. You may start off with the plan or your original business plan where you thought you were going to be headed in a specific direction, but then it does slightly change. But that's okay, because it works out that way as well. And flexibility is key, and being ready to reinvent yourself if you need to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing is, I would say, reason. You have to have a driving reason to keep you in business, whether it be a child. It's like when we were young, you did whatever it took to get that first bike. You sold lemonade for 5 cents every single day to get that bike. And there's got to be that reason behind why you want to stay in business. And when you lock down on that reason, that passion behind, again, I love the word passion, as you can tell, that passion behind that reason will continue to drive you to get your goals, or to attain your goals that you have set forth for yourself. So reason to do what you're doing, whether it be a new family, whether it be the new house, whether it be whatever it may be, for a wife, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, husband, whatever, you have to have that reason behind you, and that reason will be strong enough to pull you through. Because again, like when things get down and we're sitting on the computer by ourselves,
Right.
You need that reason. That's when that reason comes back and says, you know what, you got those university fees to pay for, to get your daughter or your son, to get them to where they need to have a good start in life.
Right.
So whatever that reason is going to be, you need to have that reason.
The driving force.
Exactly.
There it is. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you know what? We'll leave it at that. This has been a great conversation. We're going to come back, but this is a multi-episode version of Coffee Talks, episodes of Coffee Talks. So we'll come back, and when we do come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Ontario Self-Employment Benefit Program, how it can help new entrepreneurs, and we'll talk about the Local Biz Expo. So we'll be right back.